Okay, this is just a response to Pay-Per-View Pick 07 and Piston 101. Have a look at your sheets on WWE. I think you're pretty much both the same. It's hard to pick one over the other, but I did think you've missed some major flaws with the WWE in shooting on it, which I just wanted to thought I'd point out now. I think the main problem with the WWE is the brand extension. Don't get me wrong, I thought it was great back when it started, but the brand extension, the way it is, the way that it's not enforced at all, the way that one guy is shot from one show to another. I know this past week, unfortunately, because of Chris Benoit, it's been all over the place, and that's kind of understandable, but it's always like that. It's not, it makes it less special when it does happen. If it was only 1 or 2 pay-per-views a year that people from both brands would fight each other, it would mean something. Now on Raw and SmackDown, they'll just come over and fight people, and it's just, doesn't make sense. If they enforced the brand extension, it would be so much better, and then the draft would have actually meant something, as opposed to Carly going back to SmackDown, which he was originally on SmackDown, then went to ECW, then went to Raw, then went back to SmackDown. That doesn't mean anything. You've just pinged him around like a yo-yo because no one wants him. It's like hot potato. He's rubbish. Get rid of him. We don't want him. We don't want him either. Crap, we got him back. It's awful. But think about it. Edge winning the world title, winning the world heavyweight title, would have meant so much more if you had enforced the roster split. If it was set in stone, Raw guys fought Raw guys, ECW guys fought ECW guys, and then SmackDown guys fought SmackDown guys, you'd have Edge, who won the Money in the Bank ladder match, which, yes, you can challenge for any title that you want, but you would assume that you'd cash it in for the Raw one. I know the impact was still pretty big then he won it, but imagine if it wasn't even a thought that he could go over because he's a Raw superstar, which they could have quite easily done. Besides that, I mean, the number of titles, 9 titles. Vengeance, Night of Champions proves it. None of them mean anything. Cruiserweight title doesn't mean anything. It could quite easily mean something, but it really doesn't. US title doesn't mean anything. Intercontinental title doesn't mean anything. When you're going at, this is another thing to do with the roster split. I liked roster split pay-per-views because you break it down more. So yeah, you would have a Cruiserweight title match on a pay-per-view, you would have a US title match, as opposed to having 3 world titles. 3 world titles, how does that work? In one promotion, on one pay-per-view, you have 3 world titles. That's a bit confusing, isn't it? Whatever, I just think, no, not good. You've also got useless wrestlers, like Great Khali, Snitsky, Mark Henry. They just try and push them without even considering, they just push them, and it's stupid. There's no need to push them. They don't make anything. Look at Mark Henry. Anyone else had been given the killer push that Mark Henry has, they should be uber over. Mark Henry's not over. Mark Henry has destroyed, rest in peace, Batista, The Undertaker, I think Rey Mysterio, I'm not entirely sure, but good solid guys like that, come in, dominated people. Anyone else should be able to go and make yourself a star with that sort of a push, but he's not. He's just Mark Henry. He can't go, and that's what needs to. I mean, he's a menacing force. So yeah, he could be a good bodyguard. Same with Carly. They can both be intimidating bodyguards, but as they're being themselves, they're not anything. They're not character. They're just big. It's awful. The underutilization of talent, but no. Comes here and one there. Just see what else I can get. I mean, I personally don't think Casino is that bad, but there we go. We're looking straight at it. Batista over Edge. Edge beat him in the, can't remember, Do or Die match. I wasn't called, he changed his name, but I can't remember. Last Chance match. So that's it. Edge won, so he didn't have to defend the title against Batista, but in the end, it's the main event, Batista versus Edge. Right? and Batista wins, just to prove that he can beat Edge. What's the point in that? He's lost the feud. He can't win the title unless they go back on, which they really shouldn't do. Edge needs a long title on. Edge needs to be built SmackDown around Edge. That's what Edge needs. Edge not needs, but that's what Edge can do. Edge is a bona fide star. Should be built around. Not jobbed out to Batista, because Batista's nothing. Batista's rubbish enough, for example. I mean, people go on about Cena. Batista. At least Cena, I think Cena puts effort in. You might disagree, whatever. Don't care. Or I do care. It's your opinion, you're entitled to it. But my opinion is that Batista doesn't put effort. He's sloppy, doesn't put on good matches. Cena has been in some good matches. I don't want to go into the whole Cena thing. Johnny Nitro is ECW champion. Do I care? I mean, I don't mind so much him being ECW champion, but it's just no build-up, and it's just someone from outside of ECW. Someone within ECW should have won the title. You're not just... I know he's been drafted to it, but he's had one, maybe two matches. I mean, and then you drop him out to Cena. I don't know what they're thinking. It's basic, make your guys look credible. And then I saw Nitro's post Cena beatdown, and he's like, I lost because I've got a cough. But it won't happen again. Well, it shouldn't have happened. It should have been their face before when Cena's beaten them. He should, maybe not have won, but not had a draw, had something different to show that this is the new Johnny Nitro. This is the ECW champion Johnny Nitro. This isn't the guy that lost to Cena before. He can hang with Cena, or have it only just lose to Cena. I don't know. I just don't. Yeah, WWE just has more problems than it does. That's good. Too many pay-per-views. It's just like, as soon as one stops, another one's coming up, and it's just like the build-up for Avengers was abysmal. There was absolutely nothing. It's just, and that's with what I think, having your own, each roster having one pay-per-view. Yeah, you do joint ones with the big ones, so they feel special. But now SummerSlam is coming up. It's not going to feel anything different because they're all tri-branded. They shouldn't all be tri-branded. As you can see, I'm going into a huge rant about how WWE is awful. Just really wanted to put it out there. I think the roster split is WWE's main problem. Easily be fixed. Just need to enforce their own rules that they've put there. And then the draft would actually meant something, but the draft meant nothing. The draft means nothing because then, are we even 2 weeks? Okay, I understand Chris Benoit's death, unfortunate, and has then led to unforeseen circumstances, which mean they've had to, well, not had to, but they've put two Raw versus Vicky Guerrero invited Raw guys over. Whatever, it just doesn't make. You need to enforce it. That's it. If it's enforced, if you go back to pay-per-views, I think they went back to tri-brand because they thought it was better for ratings. I don't think it has. I think you need something more to build. If pay-per-view, with the little time it is, it's very difficult to build for another world title match, for another. For 3 different world title matches in the same amount of time. If you had double the amount, so if you took it in turns, I understand. I don't think ECW is a strong enough brand to hold a whole pay-per-view, but Raw and SmackDown definitely are. And then if you have ECW as an entree on the side, which can go into either of them until it's strong enough, which I don't think they're going to want it to be strong enough, because the way it's. SmackDown was treated as an inferior brand, but now ECW is the inferior brand to SmackDown, which I know Raw makes more money. It's the flagship of the show, has been around longer. But surely you don't need to lopside it quite so badly as it is. That's another thing. Raw, flagship, make SmackDown credible, make SmackDown. I mean, you can have Raw, SmackDown, War. I mean, that's just easy booking. to have, okay, yeah, you actually have a conclusion, and Raw doesn't need to win that. Have SmackDown win it, and then SmackDown can be like, oh, SmackDown isn't rubbish. SmackDown managed to beat Raw. SmackDown's as good as Raw. Whatever, have a pay-per-view like Invasion, they're both fighting each other, and have it as a draw or something. Yeah, it's pretty inconclusive, but it shows that they're level. Anyway, I could continue ranting on about how WWE is rubbish, but I'm sure you don't want that, so I'll stop.